Yo, what is the dealio, y'all? Hey, listen, in this video, I want to talk about being a trader and an investor, right? So, I really want to get you like tapped in and locked in to like understanding the power of the stock market if you don't already know, right? Some people know, some people are dibbling, dabbling in it and stuff like that, but I really believe that every trader should really like become more of an investor, and every investor should become more of a trader, right? And that may sound a little bit counterintuitive, but it's like I want you to understand the power of this, right? I feel like traders and investors be at war a lot of times, right? And people that only invest into dividends, they not dividends, only invest into like index funds. Some people have bad things to say about traders and stuff like that, and it's too risky. But I want you to understand this, right? If you can become a trader and an investor, just because you become a trader does not, I'm not saying sit and look at charts 6 hours a day. I'm not saying that, right? What I'm saying is you can learn the skill set of trading, and the skill set of trading can make you a better investor. And as a trader, when you start to really like tap into being more of an investor, it'll make you a better trader and it will make you more wealthy over time, right? So when we really break it down and go into it, right? Um, if you are only investing, and let's say you have a good job, and let's say you're making like 6K a month, right? In America, that's like a pretty good job. Um, and let's say you're investing, let's say $1,000 a month, right, into your retirement account, and then let's just say it's an index fund, all right. Now that's 12K a year. Let's say you're putting 7K of it into your IRA, and then you're putting the other 5K into your own personal brokerage account, whatever, right? All right, that's perfectly fine. Now the average American, they are not able to put $1,000 into their accounts, right, into the stock market. Now, so you got 12K a year. Now let's say that grows by 10% a year. That means every year you're gonna make $1,200, right? That's 10% of 12,000. But let's say with that, you learn how to trade. I'm not even saying day trading. I'm saying swing trading or leaps, right? So let's say you invest that 12K, $1,000 a month into your accounts for retirement or whatever. And then let's say you have, 2,500 on the side. All right. Now you take that 2,500, and let's say the stock market crashes like it did 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right? Last month for real. And then let's say you see that Google is at, 52-week low, or they're down 50%. Because you understand the stock market, you can say, hey, I think I'm going to get into a call option and I'm going to put it out 8 months from now, right? It could be 2 contracts or 1 contract, it don't matter. But you take that 2,500 and then you just set it and forget it, right? Now, what's going to happen is that 2,500 is going to be like 3x. So you could turn 2,500 into like 5K, maybe 7K, depending on the price you got it at and all of those things, right? And then you could take the profits from that, and then you could put the profits from that or a small piece into your equities and into your brokerage account, right? And so trading was created for investors, right? Trading was created for investors. So when the stock market is going down, you could ride puts to the downside to hedge your investments. And when the stocks are down and they're coming back up, you could get into calls to ride them up, right? Because there is a big misconception that like trading is a scam. Like if anybody tells you trading is a scam, I really want you to question them and question their intention, because it's not a scam. Trading was literally created for investors to hedge their investments. All right. Now, that's why I think every investor should become a trader. And when I say become a trader, I'm saying learn how to read the charts, right? Understand what technical analysis means. Because when you start to learn the charts, but you are an investor, you're going to be able to know when it's time to buy more shares of your stocks. Okay? Because the ultimate goal is to have ownership in these companies, which we call equities, which is shares, common stock, right? Now, as a trader, okay, as a trader, I encourage every trader to focus more on investing, right? Yes, you can make a lot of money. Yes, you can make money fast, but it is time to start buying more shares of companies. It is time to start maxing out your IRA, your Roth. And it's also time to start building your dividend portfolio, right? I've been investing in index funds for a while. My favorite ones are VOO and VTI inside of my Vanguard account. Okay. Now, dividends, VTI and VOO, they pay out dividends. But what I did was I started a whole new dividend portfolio, and I'm about to start sharing my dividend portfolio growth. Okay. Because I want to document that journey. But just because you make 20K a month or 10K in a month or 15K in a month trading stock options, you got to understand that you're still working for the money, right? So as a trader, you know how to read the charts. You know how to see if the stock is going to go down or going to go up. So what you can do and should be doing is you should say, hey, now that I know how to trade and I know how to make this money, in addition to what I'm doing in my personal life, I am going to take a portion of my profits from my trading and I'm going to buy shares of stocks. And that's going to allow me to build my wealth. So that way, let's say you have a job or you have a business and that's paying your rent and your bills or your mortgage or whatever, right? If you're trading, and let's say you know that you can make 5K a month trading, you could take $2,500 a month and put that into your shares, and then you'll be able to grow your wealth that way. So one day you don't have to depend on and or rely on day trading, if you will. And you can still keep day trading, but this is one of those things where whenever money comes fast, there's a lot of people that spend the money on frivolous things, right? When I was selling solar, I remember we went to an event and somebody was speaking, a financial person, right? And I was always trying to tell people, hey man, you should get into the stock market, right? Go buy this, go buy some index funds. And nobody was really listening to me because the money was coming so fast that people were just buying, $3,000 worth of shoes, this new car, all these trips, right? But they didn't even have one share of Apple stock. They didn't even, have their brokerage account set up. So I was always trying to tell people to get everything set up, right? So we was at this event, it was a conference. And the guy in the front, he said, how many people have an iPhone? The whole building raised their hands because in solar, it's a very lucrative industry. When you're in solar sales, the average commission price, commission for one sale could be like $2,000 to like $10,000, right? My biggest commission on one deal, on one sale, was $20,000, right? So the solar industry is very lucrative. So everybody raised their hands saying they had an Apple phone. Now then he said, how many of you guys have one share of Apple stock? And it was only like 4 of us, right? I raised my hand, a couple other people in the room. And so I'm saying that to say, whenever you're in an industry where there's a lot of money, you're going to have a lot of people that aren't wealth minded. Okay? You're going to have a lot of people that are not wealth minded. Don't get this twisted. I talk about trading, right? Because anybody can do it. But we are buying shares. We are buying dividend stocks. We are invested into index funds. Don't get this twisted, okay? And I want to encourage everybody, you watching this video, if you're trading and you're not really buying a lot of shares, and if you're making good money, you need to be heavily investing into shares and equities. And here's the thing, it is boring, right? It is boring. But over time, you'll be making $200, $300, $400, $500 a day just from your shares and your equities, right? You'll be making 10K, 20K, 80K, 100K a year just off of equities, right? Just off of shares. And then when you add in, some swing trades or some leaps to your portfolio, because you now understand how to trade, or you already knew how to trade, that's when you start really making a lot of money. So as an investor, trading can accelerate your wealth and your growth, your financial growth, right? And if you are a trader, you want to do the opposite, right? Because investing is like the slow route, trading is the fast route. That's what they're branded as. But both help each other, right? As an investor, you can learn how to go a little bit faster. And as a trader, you can learn how to go a little bit slower because they complement each other. Okay? When I was younger, and also understanding how compounded interest works and how dividend reinvestment works. No matter what the dividend is, if you have that dividend reinvested into the stock, let's say you get to a point where you get, let's say you make $300 off a dividend stock, right? Okay. And then let's say the stock price is $50. All right. And let's say you're getting paid out every quarter. That's $1,200 in 1 year. Okay. And if the stock average price for that year is $50, that means that you can get about 10 plus 2, 12. You could get 14 free shares from your dividend income, right? And then it'll snowball, right? So you want to understand the power of compounding as well. A lot of times when people are making a lot of money at a younger age, they're not super focused on the long term, right? And when I was younger, I wasn't super focused on the long term. I was kind of scared, right? And intimidated and stuff like that. But as you kind of mature mentally, you start to understand, I don't want to be working forever, right? The goal of life is to not have to work. The goal of life is to not have to do anything, wake up and you got, 800K tucked away. You got 3 million here. You got 200K here. You got 500K here. And for anybody that says the stock market is not real, I want you to understand something. The stock market can print you a lot of money. It can print you a lot of money. But you got to understand when it's time to sell your shares so that you could cash out, and when it's time to hold, and when it's time to buy. All the stock market is about is the purest form of commerce. Buy low and sell high. That's all it's about. Buy low, sell high. Same with trading. Buying low, sell high. Right? So I want you to really understand that as an investor, you can benefit from learning how to trade. It's not a scam, right? You just need to learn how to do it. You need to learn the analysis. You need to learn how to read the charts. And then as a trader, you got to learn how to slow it down and start prioritizing buying some shares. Because, 1 share here, 5 share here, it don't sound like a lot. But when you're doing that every week, right? And then you get to a point where you got 100 shares. And then you get to a point where you got 500 shares. Then you get to a point where you got 1,000 shares. right? And then your portfolio is at 25K, 50K, 100K, and then it keeps growing, and you seeing that, dang, I made 15% this year off of doing nothing. I made $300 this month from one stock's dividend payout off of doing nothing. I made $700 this quarter off of doing nothing from this dividend. That's when your life really gonna change and you're gonna start to understand it from a different level. And so I don't care what your age is, I don't care what your background is. I'm telling you right now, when you could merge investing and trading together, that's when your life goes to the next level. Right? So trading is how you can make the money, and that's why you don't need to make a gajillion dollars in a month. Right? If you have a plan and you say, okay, I want to make $100 a day in the stock market, that's about $2,500 a month, right? And I'm being very conservative. You could do that in 2 days, 1 day, right? You could do that in an hour. But if you can learn how to make $2,500 a month in the stock market, and you're already putting $500 a month into your stock portfolio, you could take $1,000 of that $2,500 profit, put it into your portfolio. Now you're putting in $1,500 a month, and that's an extra $12,000 a year. And over 5 years, that's an extra $60K that you're putting into the stock market. And if that grows at 8% a year on a really conservative end, life will change for you, right? And when you learn how to trade, you're also going to learn how to get bigger returns in a shorter period of time, because that's what trading is. All right. So investor or trader, both can benefit from both. No one is better than the other. Investing is the true wealth and the true freedom. Trading is a little bit riskier, but when you learn how to read the charts and things, it's not as risky. And then you will be able to be in a position where you can make more money. All right, long term. So with that being said, like I always say, get out of your head and go get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right. And also remember, the more you study, the less you worry. All right. I'm going to see you guys on the next video. Peace.